All right, guys, I wanted to talk about different pick sets in this video. I'm not like a super high black belt, tier 15, picker yet. I'm on my brown belt, working on black actually now. I'm hoping to skip red, but I have acquired a whole bunch of picks, and I want to just kind of go through what I have and give you my honest feedback. This is totally opinion based, so nobody has to agree with me about this. And I would love to hear your comments as to what your favorite pick sets are and whatnot. But and I know there's ones that I don't have that other people have. I don't have any Peterson sets, for instance, but I have acquired a few different sets that I figured are worth showing you and talking through what I like, what I don't like on these different ones. So let's get right into it. The latest one, it's in the forefront here, so I just want to show this one off real quick. This is the Apex set from Covert Instruments. I've only had this for a few days so far, but love it. I love especially this one from an EDC perspective. It's just great. It's got everything you need for 90% of picking, fidget factor is great. The handles feel really nice. I love how they're fairly smooth, but they have just enough texture to give you good grip. And if your hands are kind of sweaty after, picking for a while, you're not going to be slipping with these. So it's great. And then I love the fact that it gives you both, your normal turners, your top of keyway turners, and your ergo turners. So you have kind of all the options that you would normally need, really to do, any kind of picking that you'd want to get into, or most kind at least. So, and cool case as well, great form factor. And, it's great if you've got room to stick something like this in a backpack or whatever, or in your car, and love it. And then I got the rest of the set as well. I'll just show these real quick. I think there's quite a few videos in these already, so I don't want to take up a ton of time, but really like the different profiles. I kind of selected the ones that I tend to use most and put them in the EDC kit. This isn't any one, it's the combination of a couple different of these other sets, but they're the ones that I like, so I put them in there. And anyway, that's a great set. Definitely recommend it. It's on the pricier side, but given the form factor and what you get with it in terms of the case, I think it's totally worth it, at least was for me. I think it's $200 right now, but that's a great set. Definitely recommend it. Let's go on to what's next here. So this is a set that I got. This is, I think, the Ridgeback set from Lawlock Tools. I don't use this set a lot because I don't like the thickness of the actual pick. So this is made from a single piece of steel. You can get aftermarket handles for this. I think I got some from 44 Delta, and they're really slick. They're magnetically attached, and they work good. But then it goes from being wicked thin to being quite thick. And I just didn't love how it fit in my hand. So that's a personal preference thing. Some people might like these a lot. But in terms of a deal, this is on sale. It's still on their website. Has been for, I don't know, 4 months probably. But it's at least it's 50% off, and they're selling it for £40. You got to deal with shipping coming out of the UK. But for £40, you get a really robust set with every kind of profile you can imagine. So there's a lot of options here. A whole bunch of rakes come with it, and quite a few turning tools, and then it comes with a case. So I mean, you can't beat it. I mean, it's pretty awesome. But I just haven't ended up using it because I do have other ones that I enjoy more. But if you want to get something that's going to give you virtually every pick you're going to want, as far as just a pick profile is concerned, for a good price, £40, that gets you a lot for your money. So that's a good one. Another one that I like, these I do use, and I like how these feel. These feel somewhat similar to the Covert Instruments ones, are the Jimylongs. Jimmy makes great picks. Shout out to him. These things go, when they're in stock, they go out of stock like within an hour. It's crazy. But really like these, and I know I think Sandman turned me this direction, and I think I spent about $100 to get this full collection. And this is, I think, the intermediate set and the basic set in a couple of different thicknesses. The only thing that I've run into that I guess maybe it's a plus and a con at the same time is the profile of the steel here goes from a thicker and then section here, and then it tapers down. And that's fine for most locks, but in some deep keyways, the thickness back here has gotten in the way only once or twice. It hasn't happened a lot of times, but it is one of those things where you just want to be aware of that. Otherwise, these feel great in the hand. I actually have fairly small hands, so this is a shorter pick, and I like how it fits. So if you've got a really big hand, you may like something like the Moki workshop one's better or something. But this one for me is kind of has kind of a perfect hand feel, and it feels very similar to the Covert Instruments one, the Apex set. Or we should get one of those for comparison. The kind of feel of the plastic is similar. They've got similar ridges where you'd put your fingers here for picking or where you put your thumb, and then from a length perspective, they're not identical. The Covert Instruments is a little shorter, but they're pretty close. So I like these both. They're really good. So that's the Jimylongs, and that came with a bunch of turning tools as well. So that was a good purchase. Next, let's talk about Covert Instruments. So other than the Apex one, I'm kind of a Covert Instruments fanboy. I think I have most things that they sell, including their impressioning tools and whatnot. I just bought an Abus cutaway lock from them. I'm starting to get into disc detainer locks, so that's a I like them. I like just about everything they make. So first lock set that I bought that I picked a lot with. I kind of started out with their Genesis set, and then within probably like a week or two was looking for something more robust. This is the McNally Reaper one, and this one here probably was my go-to set for, the first 2 months of picking. I still come back to it quite often. I like how this tool feels and fits in my hand. Again, it's on the short end. Some people with big hands probably are not going to like how long this is, but I've got hands that are on the smaller size, and the profiles of these are just fantastic. I love how they're a little unique, a little different, kind of like what I was commenting about the taper in the Jimylongs. One of the ways that they've addressed that is they do a little cutout on the bottom here. That may take a little bit of the strength away, but I don't think meaningfully. And it just, this one got me well past the American 1100 and the Pack Lock 98 Pro and whatnot. And this, these pins or picks were perfect. So I really like this set. I would recommend it. I actually think I like it better than the Echelon set. Echelon set's good as well. But in terms of versatility and the unique design of these, everything about it is a little unique and different. I mean, the turning tools are not your average turning tool. They have some different shapes to them. I love that, especially how small the tip of the top of keyway ones are. I use that all the time if I'm picking a standard pin tumbler lock. And then some of the other ones it comes with have these little offsets, which really help when you're dealing with narrower keyways, and they tend to get the turning tool just out of the way a little bit, and just really good design. So love these. And by the way, I'm not getting paid for any of these. None of these were provided for free. I paid my own money for all of these, and this is genuinely an unbiased review. So yeah, Reaper McNally set, love that. The Echelon set, another good one, kind of a staple of my toolkit, so to speak. Has kind of everything you can imagine in here. I like it. It does everything. It just doesn't maybe do everything best. So I pull it out from time to time, or this is an easy one to throw in my backpack because of the form factor, but I don't prefer this over the other ones. I'd rather pull out my Jimylongs or now the Apex set or something like that. But it's good. It has everything you need, and then some, with a lot of other things like a dimple rake and some hooks for bypassing padlocks and whatnot. So it's got a lot of cool things in it, but it's just maybe not my first choice to go after. But for $70, it's a really, it's a fine deal, and this patch is one of the coolest things ever. It's a in a pinch, it's a pinning mat. I have actually used this where I didn't have a pinning mat on hand, and it worked. It's got enough space for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 pins along here, and the ridges are big enough that they do hold them in place, even though they're way more shallow than your typical pinning mat. This did not come with the Echelon, but I recommend if you're going to pick it up, this is my favorite patch that they have. Super cool, and it has actually got me out of a bind once when I was picking, so that's a cool set as well. The last one I'll mention is the Moki Workshop one, and this one, you can see it's not in a case. I have not found a case yet that fits these. So these are by far the longest picks that I own. This is their, I forget what they call it, but it's their like biggest set that they sell, and I believe it goes for 98 euros, so 105 bucks or something. And then the scales on these are additional. I think I paid another 30 euros for the scales, and they're nice. They feel really nice in the hand. These are way bigger, way longer. So just to compare it to the Apex set as an example here, you can see these are quite a bit longer. So if you've got big hands, this might be for you. I like how they feel, but there's way more length here than I need. So that doesn't do anything for me at all. It doesn't detract from it, but it doesn't, for me, that's not a reason to buy them. The one thing I would say though is because of the length, I cannot find a tool bag that fits these. I've ordered additional tool bags. I got another one from Jimylongs. The one that I was, I might have shown it earlier, but yeah, the one that Jimylongs was in, they just don't fit in it. So if you were to try to replace, one of Jimylongs, for instance, with a Moki Workshop one, it doesn't fit. The flap won't close here. So I don't know if anybody's found a good tool bag for it that's not custom or whatever. Leave me a comment, because I'd love to find one for the Moki Workshop ones. I do like how they feel. It's a good pick set, but based on the fact that they're just always everywhere, I can't take them anywhere with me. So I end up never using these purely for that reason. So I'd love to find a bag for these to go, and I probably would use them more often. The only other thing I'd say is, for how long they are, the actual material right here is actually fairly short. And I did run into a lock maybe a week ago where I was picking it, and I couldn't get to the back pin with the tapering here. Tapering got in the way, and I couldn't get back there far enough to be able to pick it. So I had to go to a different pick. Let me compare that with the Apex real quick. So you can see the Apex gives you about the same length, actually a little more with this particular reach. You can see the difference there. But the nice thing is they don't have much of a taper here. So you can get that entire length into a lock, whereas on this one, you're probably only going in about this far if the keyway's tight. So, so just by comparison, you're probably picking up, a third of the length or a quarter of the length more with the Apex set, even though it's not that much longer, but just because there isn't much taper. So just be aware of that as well, that these, although they're super long, the actual ends aren't that long, which for most locks, not a big deal. Just by just compare it real quick. If I was picking, I wouldn't use that pick, of course, on this, but if I was picking an American 1100, let me get a different pick. I can get back to the back pin with plenty to spare sticking out there. So not a problem, just as a reference point on like an American 1100. But let me just make sure I'm on the back pin. Yeah, there's the back pin. So I'm in there, no problem, but I am about at the almost the end of what it can pick in American 1100. So if you're going any deeper than that on a deeper lock, you might have a problem. So just be aware of that with the Moki Workshop ones. But otherwise, I do like how they feel. I like how smooth they are, and the fact that the lettering is kind of like, a relief or whatever, where it has some texture to it. So it fits well in the hand. It gives you a little bit of grip there on that. But I would say after, if you're picking for an hour or two and, hands get sweaty, you would definitely slip on this one. Whereas the Apex, the Jimylongs, you wouldn't have any issues at all. So if you do go this way, though, it does come with some decent turning tools, kind of your standard pry bars and wiper blade ones, and yeah, it's fine. It's a fine set, but I can say these will probably stay in my tool bench more often than not, and I'll probably be pulling out the Apex or Jimylongs or even just going back to the McNally set more often than anything else. So hopefully that's useful to somebody. If I were today just to pick a single set to own, it would be the Apex. If I was looking for something a little bit more budget friendly, it would be the Jimylongs. And if I was starting out and just wanted a good pick set that was going to give me everything I needed, I'd probably go with the Reaper. So that's my take on it. Obviously, this is absolutely an opinion. There's no right or wrong here, but I would love to hear from you guys as to what your favorites are. So hopefully that's useful for somebody. Thanks. See ya.